So here's my follow up to the whole shooter thing. Um, so here's what happened. Bree and I were at home. And she's like, "Hey, let's go to Build a Bear." All right, easy enough. Let's go. Drive a couple hours over to see it. Walk around through the mall for a bit, buy a bunch of stuff, go to the Build a Bear, get done, and we're about to leave because we have to come home and watch the wrestling pay per view. And I'm like, "Well, we're already running late, so what's the point? Let's finish what we're doing. Let's get something to eat, and then go home." We stop at the food court, get a bunch of food, and we are sitting down to eat. And and then out of nowhere, you hear bang, and then I saw someone fall over, and then I heard there was like a quick, like 2 3 second just dead silence, and then you hear people screaming and running, and then you hear bang, 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 just one after another, and that's when I grabbed Bree, threw her on the floor, and covered her with myself because first instinct was to protect her. That's the goal. And then she's fighting me because she wants to get up and help. And I'm like, "No, stay down." I was like, "I called dibs on dying today." Um, and then after like another 15, 20 seconds of silence, we decide to get up, grab our shit real quick, and then we're like trying to sneak out. And we look over, and there's this elderly Asian family cowering behind the garbages. And we're like, "Do you guys need help getting out of here?" And they're like, "Yes, please help us." And I tell them, like, "Just stay between me, and like, just stay behind me. I'm gonna put myself between us and where the guy was shooting from." And they're like, "Thank you." Then the oldest Asian woman was like, "Oh, I need to go get my stuff. Help me, please." So we walk over, and now I'm like, because when the shooting happened, we were like maybe 40, 50 feet away. Like, you're close enough to see and hear everything, but so now, walking over to get this woman's stuff, I'm like 15, 20 feet away from where this fucking shooting happens. There hasn't been any shooting for a bit, but we don't know what's going on. And then I look over and I see someone on the ground covered. At the time, I thought they took down the shooter. Well, no, it turns out it's the second victim. And then when we get out of there, we get out of there. Like, we escape and we just leave. But so the first person I saw fall was a woman, apparently, and she died. The other person that I saw on the ground was shot but lived, thankfully. But yeah, so we get outside, and the mall security is just sitting there, literally right outside the door, in his car on his phone, just dinking around. I'm like, "Dog, get somebody!" And then we just get into our car and leave. Like, and then there's this other. When we get to the car, there's this other couple pulling in, and they're about to go inside, and we're like, "No, do not go in there. There's still blood all over the place. Like, a shooting just happened." And then they said, "Well, thank you for letting us know." And we literally just got in the car and drove home. Like, we called the police, told them what we saw, called our families, and let them know, like, "Hey, we were there, but we're okay." Then we came home and watched the wrestling pay per view. Like, and we just pretended everything was fine. Later that night, it was a little rougher when we were trying to sleep, and we were having nightmares and just too energized to sleep and too anxious. And then, like, literally the next day, my body just shut down, and I slept for the entire day, which was kind of weird. And it's it's interesting to have gone through something like that, you know. But I guess what can you do? Um, we are doing okay now. We're doing a lot better. Um, I guess thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.